Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the booth to chat with those who are movers and shakers inside the baseball world. Flippo Boys here with you, part of the Black Baseball Mixtape family of podcasts. Shout out to Stilo and Horancia 21. My guest on this episode does a little something in the booth himself. Talking about Barnstorming beats. Give it up for the producer extraordinaire, David Pellum II. What's going on, sir?
Not much. What's happening?
Hey, I love that, man. Respect that. So we were just talking about this before we go on live, man. You just a talented brother. You rocking the Braves beanie. I'm a Mets fan. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can.
Oh man, come on! I don't know if
I can do this.
I get mentally, emotionally, just physically tired when we play y'all. It's just it's always a good game.
So, okay, I respect that. Here's a question for you though, as an Atlanta Braves fan: are the Mets a bigger rival of the Phillies? I always go back and forth on that.
Man, we really don't like New York though.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. No, I mean I get that. I get that too. I feel like we got the only three-way rivalry in baseball right now. But I'm not here to talk about the Mets, even though I could talk about them all the time. we're talking about Barnstorming beats, and this is actually a concept instrumental album where you made tracks influenced by some of the luminaries in Negro League history.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's because when you go to a baseball game, you know the big thing you hear is the walk-up music. You know, it's like everybody hears it. But one day because I have a lot of music I've been put out, and I just was like, one day, man, what would Satchel Paige come out to, because he was really, flamboyant and stylish, or Josh Gibson or Rube Foster, what would they come out to? So I was like, I'm going to make music inspired of what their walk-up music would be. So Bob Kendrick at the Negro League Museum, holla at me, we can make that happen, do an AI-generated thing where, like, we have them come up and do some walk-up music.
Yeah. Okay, so I love the inspiration of that, but what does that look like at night when you're trying to hit the notes and you're like, nah, Satchel wouldn't like that one. Satchel wants an octave higher. Like, what is, like, how do you get into the minds of the people that are inspiring you for these tracks?
Man, that's a good question. A lot of it was just listen to the interviews, how they like their tonality, how they play. Because the big thing with which what made it fun was the nicknames. That's why it was like, even doing this interview, it's inspired me to do another one. I don't know if it's gonna be stadiums or is the teams, because but I mean, just talk about this one. It's just listen to like their tonality, because everybody had respect for each other. They always bragged about what other superpowers was. Like Satchel Paige, they'll tell you he could like throw a penny and hit a cherry off a tree, something crazy. But that's how they would talk. They would just talk really trash, so good about the other person that it just boosted and bragged about their talents. It sounded so just amazing, beyond what you could even see. So, but yeah, it just listen to, like I said, the tonality of just their interviews and how they present themselves, and their nicknames. The nicknames have to match the music.
Right. I hear that. So taking a step back, what came first, the love of the game or the love of the booth?
The booth. Yeah. I'm a music. I've been in music, man, since I'm, like 85% of Black people growing up in the church.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Grew up in the church, played drums, and then from there, I always was in love with it. I grew up in the '90s, so Outkast has always been a thing, and I like rock music. So, and I've always been a big fan of country as well. So, but the booth came first. Music has always been my inspiration outlet of life. So, yeah, that's what it came from.
Yeah, people don't realize, man, you get in the wrong church. You in there like 8 hours a day on Sunday.
Oh, bro, that was us. We were Pentecostal. Now, we had service from 10 to 4. And you go eat, and then you come right back. That was us. That's why all the kids play instruments in the 90s. The whole R&B world was great because people play instruments, because you're in church 8 hours. That's a shift at work. So you become a musician. That's why if you listen to the 90s music, that's where all that come from. Everybody was just playing instruments from, there was, like Jermaine Dupri and everybody was playing instruments. That's what they were doing, or singing in the choir. Yeah. So yeah, that's
no, my mom was Pentecostal, man. That church basement lunch is basically like, you ain't going home. But this fuel up. Night service. Night service coming soon. You know what I mean?
And that's a good point to bring up. So with Negro League baseball, with the ladies, the Sunday hats, where that came from is they would go to the games on Sunday to block the sun. So those big Sunday hats that wear, it wasn't for fashion. It was to keep the sun out of their face.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah. Because I mean, a Southern church, man, I've seen the movies. So my parents are from the West Indies, but like same thing applies, right? Hot weather, just sitting in the church, fans moving, but no air's blown out. Right. All right. So when was the first time you saw the game of baseball and you was like, nah, this is something I like. This is something I really want to go in on for?
Well, I don't remember. Apparently, my granddad and my mom remember. I went to Turner Field. They took me when I was 3. So I went to see the Braves at 3. I don't remember them, but they always bring that up to me. But anyways, I remember going in the 90s to see Dave Justice. Like that era of baseball, the 90s, when Ted Turner had the Braves was, bro, Ted Turner was, before wrestling was like,
yeah.
You was in South Dakota, and guess what you were watching? America's team, Atlanta Braves. You were in California, you're watching the Atlanta Braves. This to show you like this man's power and the vision he had, I think it was I want to say, I can't remember the opposing team, but it was definitely in the 90s. We would go, and I was like at least 9. It was me, my dad, and my mom, and my younger brother. We went, and it was really, man, the atmosphere. So back then, the walk-up music was more rock because hip-hop wasn't too much. That's what really gravitated me towards the music. The game was the music, the walk-up music, because you get to pick, you get 30 seconds to get in your head, like, I'm about to do this. You know, like there's no other sport like that other than wrestling, but that's a whole different thing. But you're walking up and this guy is trying to strike you out, but you're like, you know what? This is my song they're playing. And so I'm going to do my best to either get a home run, get somebody on base, or get myself on base. So, but yeah, the Braves was my first game, and I just fell in love with it. And then after that, I actually went to a couple of HBCU games. Believe it or not. Yeah, so that really turned me on to a whole different speed of baseball. Like it's just, like FAMU, just seeing them. I had a cousin that went to FAMU, so watching him play, like that was, and then softball. Like I just like seeing us play. It's just a little different flair. You know? So,
FAMU, shout out to the Rattlers. The
Rattlers.
So I used to live in Florida. I went to college at Flagler College, which is the opposite of an HBCU. it's the whitest school in the country. But I used to crash BCR every spring break. I was in Bethune-Cookman, and FAMU had theirs at spring break. I'm like, the Tony show now. Totally not belong in there. You know what I mean?
You belong.
Thank you, because it wasn't happening at my college. But you mentioned something very important. I would say this: the superstation teams. Like in the 90s, you had TBS with the Braves, you had WGN with the Cubs, you had PIX with the Yankees. In fact, there are people in the Dominican Republic getting New York TV just growing up knowing just the Yankees. That to me blew my mind. So let me ask you this: the Braves are a global brand. They're one of the few teams without a single owner. Does it trip you out when you travel and you see someone with a Braves cap? Do you try to start a conversation, or you go like, "Oh, dude, we good. It's part of my tribe. I ain't gotta say nothing."
Nah, I say something all the time. Because you gotta be careful though. So like, if you see the extra swoop on top, that's the Alabama Roll Tide. So if you see the hat that goes backward like this way, that's Alabama Roll Tide. So you gotta be careful. Like, so a lot of people come up to me and be like, "Roll Tide," and I'll be like, "Nah, player." No disrespect to Alabama, War Eagle, but this is Alabama. This is Atlanta Braves. So they.
I got you.
People, that's a big misconception, and with the logo, somebody's got to fix that at some point. I don't know how and what, but I respect is respect. But every time I see a Braves, apparel, I always shout them out. I'll be like, "Yo, let's go Braves!" It's just a camaraderie, like it's America's team. So
you keep saying that, brother. I don't know if I believe it though. Nah,
you gonna believe it. Turner already made you believe
it. Man, I went to Truist Park this year. This season, and I to me it was just so cynical, brother. Like I felt like if it was America's team and it has Atlanta, Y'all took this team outside of a city, put it on a hill, and built a fake city around it? Like, why?
You know when that happened? So that happened, I think 2013, 2012. It was a random announcement on the radio, and everybody in Atlanta was just like bewildered. We was like, nah, you can't do that. Turner Field's our home. Yeah. We like parking our cars where maybe they be there when we come back, you know. So, you know, it's just, you know, we're humans, we don't like change, but now it turned out to be all right. You know, it's a whole fake city, you know, it's in Smyrna, Marietta, whatever, but it works out for the best, you know. So because I think the biggest thing, the Alabama fans, because the demographic, most of the people were coming from Alabama. Now they had to drive an extra, well, with traffic now, they may have to drive extra 2 hours because they're coming on the whole other side now. So, you know, it is what it is on that. But, you know, we'll see. Give it like 20 years and probably get in the stadium somewhere else.
yeah. I mean, y'all told me, but y'all didn't tell me. I landed in Atlanta. I put my bags out of my room. And I'm like, oh, wait, where's the park? No, for real? It's like that.
Yeah. Next time you're in the city, let me know when you're in my city. You know what I'm saying? You never know. I pop up. You know what I'm saying? What they say, the kids say, I do the dash. You know
okay. I'm writing that down. I'm getting over
it. I slide. That came from baseball, by the way. You know,
absolutely.
That term, that's all in the rap song. I slide came from baseball, and not every kid uses it. So
that's actually a pretty good sign. So when you were a kid, who was your guy? Like the Braves are your team, but who was the person that was like you won their jerseys, want to be like them, you emulated them in the park?
So I'm gonna say this and tell me what you think.
Better not be Chipper Jones. If it's Chipper Jones, this interview's over. Okay.
No, Deion Sanders. This man plays sports.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Deion Sanders. This man, I'll never forget. Oh man, he played baseball one day and football the same day. That's an Atlanta thing. You know what I'm saying? It's so Atlanta. And I say Dave Justice because I remember at one point he was dating Mariah Carey. So that was and I like the pitcher. I like in the pitching staff this John Smoltz, Tommy Glavine, and Greg Maddux. Like I thought, which was unfortunate because we never had. Of course, King Griffey Jr. Let me back up. King Griffey Jr. He put the swag in baseball. Like if it wasn't for him, like I don't think baseball would have the swag it has today. You know, people, you know, don't give him the props. I mean, he does, but at the same time, there's no, you know, like we know this. We're not to get too deep into it, but it's not many black players, you know, and then black pitchers. That's the one thing because all you hear is, when I played backyard baseball, kids always saying I'm Satchel Paige, but there'd be nobody else to compare us to. We never saw Satchel Paige, which was sad. And it's funny enough that he retired as a Braves player, and nobody really knows that. I'm trying to make it a thing where we can have Satchel Paige Day, but we already have. I think we have Hank Aaron Day or something. It's something. And like, look, we have the greatest. I mean, look, y'all got Mike Piazza. You know, so.
I mean, you're right. Yeah, I got you.
And then y'all just signed somebody for like $765 million for 15 years. Juan Soto.
I want to ask you about that. I mean, look, that dominated not only baseball talk but sports talk. Because usually baseball talk is like in segment 3 on ESPN. The Juan Soto sweepstakes went on for weeks, man. Were you a fan of that? Were you over that? Were you overpay? What was your thoughts going through that?
Man, hey. What they say, collect your coins, man.
Okay.
Collect them all. Why not? If they're gonna pay you $765 million for 15 years, that's why we need to get in baseball. Like, you live long, you don't have to worry about CTE. Like, longevity in the game. No, shout out to him though. Like, that's why Dominicans, they see something in it that, you know, like everybody else. If you get on Instagram or on the internet, period, you'll see Dominicans hitting little pebbles at 9 and 10 working on hand and eye coordination. So, I mean, shout out to him. He just one step closer to the $1 billion. Like, who's gonna be the first baseball player that hits $1 billion? You know,
should have been you, man. You said you should have stuck with it. Just in a row with it. But you made a good point about how in countries like Venezuela and Dominican Republic, or even countries that like have their own interpretation of the sport, like in like the Netherlands, there is a very youth centric like development. There's like youth leagues, there's academies from MLB teams, but we don't really see them in our communities. And I think a lot of times the kids that could have been baseball players decide to get the quicker money in football and basketball, because once you get signed, it could be years before you get that bag. So let me ask you a question. Our kids today, like the kids are saying things like skibidi toilet and stuff like that, are they in a better position to be baseball players, to have a baseball lifestyle than generations before, or is it worse?
Ooh, that's a good question because you need the capital to like do the whole travel thing. Like I did travel basketball, which is a little different. So you don't need as much, but you still got to do car washes every other Saturday, right?
Yeah.
But I think is honestly, I'm gonna say it's worse. To be honest, let's just say it's worse because you don't see as many kids playing baseball, not black kids playing baseball. So like it's the barrier entry is way harder than it used to be. Matter of fact, Deion Sanders talked about this on Club Shay Shay, where he was saying that he want to see more black kids play baseball because he loves baseball. I mean, so it's sad, but I think it just all we need is like one community. I mean, it's people they're doing it already. Louisiana in West Coast as well. California it's states that's holding it down like an anchor. You know what I'm saying? So Mississippi, it's teams out there. I think getting them social media has helped getting them out there, but it's like how do we connect the dots here, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like? With kind of like with what Dion did when he coached at Jackson State. We need some like where are those players? I think that's the connect. We need some coaches on those on those travel teams. Where are the coaches at? Like where are the mentors? It's a big disconnect.
Yeah.
You got slide slang talking versus
Right.
the unks. Where are the unks and are they meeting? You know what I'm saying? Like are they? Where are they
Yo,
at?
shout out to the Unk Summit, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, but you hit the nail on the head. I think for us, I think we're about the same age. I mean, there was a cool factor with Ken Griffey Jr. I was a Frank Thomas kid. Just the
Mm.
idea of like this power, this effortless cool. And there are some black players out there, maybe put too much pressure on them to be the Frank Thomases, to be the Ken Griffeys. If I'm just an Aaron Judge, who just was a good player, like let me be a
Right.
good player. And it's kind of this dynamic whereas if you're white, you could just go out there and play. But then if you're a minority, black or otherwise, you're like have to play well and represent and be a clubhouse like in the mix. And it's kind of hard to really break through that individually. I don't know. Maybe an idea.
That's a good point. With that being said, I read an article. I remember, I think 2016. I think it was in New York Times. Was how black players I can getting converted to be outfielders
Mm-hmm.
when they started off as pitchers. It's I was a quarterback all through my years, and then when I got to high school, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna be a receiver." I was like, "No, I'm not. That's not
Right.
what I'm playing." Like this is not what the time and camps went into. I mean, not to say I do best with the team. Not to say I'm not a team player. I think that's what we got to start standing up to. Like, if you're a pitcher, you're a pitcher. Why would you not going to convert me to an infielder or an outfielder? If you're a pitcher, you're a pitcher. I mean, Rube Foster, who invented the screwball, he used to go train in the offseason with the MLB. Like, that goes to show you, in Satchel Paige, those are two great pitchers, but we don't, and where the rest of them now,
Yeah.
so then the biggest thing now, I think with MLB does a terrible job at is marketing to our community. Because I think Nelly said it best. He was like, you got the home run hitters, but you never hear about who's the fastest around the bases, which is Ron Acuna. We're gonna say that.
Okay.
um,
Wow.
who
Oh,
has
Tony's upset. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
who has the strongest arm from right field? You know what I'm saying? It's so many skills challenges that we don't even talk about. We always talk about just the home run challenge, but it's more to it than just hitting home runs. So I think that's another aspect, and I thought that was a good point. It's just like the skills challenge. Who is that person the fastest around the bases? Who is who has the strongest right arm from outfield? That's what we need to. I think that's the skills because the home run thing is just, oh yeah, the home runs. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we've heard that story before. So
Right.
where else can we
No,
benefit from. So
It's a fresh idea, fresh take, and hopefully baseball listens to the show.
HBCU All-Star Game, holla at your boy. Let me be involved. Let me come out there and help create some games. I grew up around crazy kids, so we could do something.
What? That's the best credential. Yo, I know some crazy ass kids. Let me. All right. So when it comes down to the lore of Negro League players, and stop me if your journey was different. A lot of times you hear things in passing, and then you get that first connection with the superstar you've seen from the Negro League, and then it opens up this whole rabbit hole. For me, most people, you heard about Jackie Robinson. I'm from Brooklyn, so you hear about Jackie Robinson. He's a hero. They have murals drawn all over town. But when I went to the Negro League Museum, Bob Kendrick's museum in Kansas City about a year and a half ago, I was like enamored about Gibson's life. Like I didn't know anything about that. And I went down and learned about like Mammy Peanut Johnson and Tony Stone. And what was your like rabbit hole like when you learned more and more about the history of Negro League players?
So I got started, I think, right after the pandemic. I was like, I need to be inspired by life. I do like projects like about Black people. I just read. So I was like, let me buy a Negro League book. I bought one on Ruth Foster, and then I bought one on what's that lady's name? Effa Mainley, who was the first Black African American woman to own a Negro League team. So this reading those books, it went in more depth of like, what? This is crazy. And the biggest thing about Negro League, which is insane to me, what nobody talks about, is the economy, where we had our own everything, the power of the Black dollar. I wish if Dr. Umar would probably study Negro League, he'd probably give me your grit money. Give me so that's where like I was just enamored by the economics part of it, because it was Black insurance, because nobody would sell us Black insurance. If they did, they charged us way more. And then it was Madam C.J. Walker with haircut products, and then the third one was Negro League baseball. Those were the three most powerful economic sources for us at that time. So just going down that, like, oh man. And then they had to build the field. I was listening to an interview with Sasha Page, and he was saying sometimes when barnstorming, there would be no feet. The baseball field wouldn't even be set up. So they would have to, which is crazy because like I go to the gym and work out, right? Just think about that. They didn't go to no gym to go work out.
Yeah.
They just went and played baseball every day. You know, that was their workout. But like they had to build the field sometimes, and like just going deeper and deeper. And like I think my most interesting fact about Negro League baseball is that they invented night games, which is bizarre to me. This is like the craziest thing, because it's like the MLB adapted it 5 years later after an All-Star game. They kept telling them, hey, you should play night games because one, you know, they were skeptical at first. They were like, hey, it's cooler. People get off work, so you have more attendance at the games. It was, I think, the Kansas City Monarchs was the first team to do it. They say that the owner had involvement. You want to hear my theory? My theory is this. My theory was they were losing games, and the owner was tired of them losing. So he basically was like, y'all need to start winning. So some outfitter was like, well, if you put some lights up, we can see the ball at night. He's like, I'm not spending no money on y'all. Why would I spend money if you're already losing? And they didn't say nothing. He went on to New York, gambled some money. While he was there, he said he was going to come back later, but he came back early. And just so happened, they put up lights when he was gone. And he was like, what? After the game, he's like, why y'all put up them lights? It's my money. You wasted. It's my money. And then he was like, well, sir, we on a 4-game winning streak at night. But we'll keep the lights up. That's my theory how that went down. You know,
that's how it works, man. Why not?
Yeah, they want to take the credit. I'm not going to let them take the credit for that. Anyways,
winning solves everything when it comes down to it, man. Right? This is dumb. Wait, we winning? All right, well.
Yeah, so we're going to keep the lights up then. That's what that saying comes. We're going to keep the lights on for you.
Shout out to Motel 6. So wait, do you
MLB to pay the rent and the lights for the Negro League museum? That's what they should do.
Yeah.
Instead of us paying the money, the MLB should be paying the money for life to keep the lights on at the MLB, at the Negro League Museum, and the Southern Negro League Museum. There's another baseball museum in Birmingham too. So
Just imagine if MLB is going to have this like light tour, just put up lights all across these museums everywhere. I think Denver has like a ballpark museum too. Okay, so do you have favorite memories in the park, like some like actual sports memories you were there to see live, whether it is Atlanta or another town? Yeah,
I saw Josh Hayward hit his first home run.
Oh wow!
When he was playing with Chipper Jones. That team should have won. They should have won.
Nah, that's fine.
I don't know, man. They just typical Atlanta teams, right? But seeing because he's an Atlanta native, Josh Hayward. Shout out to him. He's a Georgia boy, down south Georgia boy, DSGB. Seeing him hit his first home run was amazing. And playing with Chipper Jones, just watching him play with Chipper Jones because you could see they would, Andrew Jones, watching him play, just a lot of, man, I'm trying to think. There was a couple of times. Oh, man, I think it was was it pre-COVID? I think it was pre-COVID, I believe. Pre-COVID, there was a game that went into like 13 innings, and it was insane. Like, it was crazy, like, because they turned the lights off at night. You've been to the stadium, and, like, they have the tomahawk thing going. And by the way, other people who do like, look, we've been doing this. We're not gonna stop doing it. The Native
You should. You should stop doing it. You should. Why you tomahawk chop it? Look, man, I don't want to make this an anti-Atlanta Braves. Let me ask you a question. Why do you do the tomahawk chop?
Man, that's just what they've been doing. I mean, that's the logo.
That's not an answer. You can't be like, well, we've been always be doing it. I'm always in these streets. Might as well stay here. That's not how that works.
I think because the actual logo. That's what I believe. That's my theory. I don't have a good answer for you on that. But
look, man, I don't want to change the culture with this platform because I don't have that power. Because I was in Atlanta. No, I tell a story a lot in the show, so I apologize if you're a long-term listener. I went to Arlington for a Texas Ranger games. Atlanta was the away team, and they were chopping even then. Now, it is cool when a team has a shorthand. Luckily, as a Mets fan in 2024, we had Grimace, so everyone kind of knew if you said Grimace, you were part of the club. I get that. But from an organization that had a Native American mascot called Chief Nakahoma and Princess Winalada, real talk, look that up. Why would you do a chop and say, oh, no, it's not that. It's Southern culture. Bruh.
I didn't say that. I didn't say it was Southern culture. I didn't say all that. I get you. I mean, it's one of those things, unfortunately. We probably do need to at some point change to something else. We're from Atlanta. We create dances all the time anyway. We was doing the dap. We should change it to the dap or something. So
you can call yourself the Hammers. I mean, didn't Hank Aaron play for y'all?
Man, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but greatness over here. You know.
I mean, his last bat is actually still on the tour. You can actually see it. It was pretty dope. One of the highlights.
Yeah, Hank Aaron. Yeah, man. Like, and that's another great player that just. He looks so small when I see him on film. He just looks so, but he was a power hitter. It's amazing. The day his movie comes out, his documentary, I'm in first line to see that. Like
I had so much respect for Hank because if how the history goes, when he was on that pace for that home run record, because he was in Atlanta, he had so many death threats from people who did not look like him, and now he's considered an Atlanta hero. And to me, that's what we say. What would Jesus do? What would Superman do? You just good for so long. People go, we ain't mad at you no more. You're one of us now. It's like, that's cool. I love it. It's all good. My bad.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point. Like, I'm glad he kept hitting home runs and beat Babe Ruth. So I got a question for you.
Hit me.
There's a rumor or a theory that Babe Ruth was black. What do you believe?
I'll be surprised if it is. I would say I understand the one drop rule, but if he was not aware and lived his life as he wasn't, then how can we say that he is? But that said, you can't deny genetics. So if it comes to light, then that'd be kind of a cool footnote. But he got the privileges of being white in that society, going to different training facilities, get access to the better meals. Like, I think that's what makes the Negro League story so much fun, or so amazing is that remember the integration of the records, and people were saying, oh no, it doesn't count because it's not the same. I go, the Negro Leagues did more with less.
Yes.
You didn't have the right accommodations to get a good night rest. They couldn't eat in certain places. They couldn't train the same way. They had fields that weren't in good condition. And the style of play was so elevated that MLB wanted to integrate, not out of the goodness of their heart, because people were buying a ticket to see them. So I think that needs to be accounted for in Babe Ruth. And I kind of hope the truth comes out either way. But I know in my head canon, I consider him a white person.
Okay, for sure. That's well, to your point about no place to sleep. There are stories that the Negro League sometimes would sleep at jail stations because they had nowhere else to stay. Yeah, it's crazy. You got this wild stories like that. And what's funny? The Savannah Bananas remind me so much. I'm not gonna look. They in Georgia, so I can't say too much, but. Mm-hmm. They're just a ripoff of a Negro League team to me. Like, it's just somebody with some money that's like, oh, let's put a little flair into it. Little Harlem Globetrotters, it's the same thing at the end of the day. Like, but they make it bigger. But he's doing something that nobody else is doing in baseball, so I respect it.
Yeah, I think the Savannah Bananas, they're independent now, but they used to be a college team. And that was kind of like, oh, this banana ball thing is rolling up. So I'm with that. I mean, the Indianapolis Clowns were really known for doing that as well. Exactly. But Barnstorming Beats. Now, the first volume is available now. Yes. Is there going to be a second volume? See how I love that question? The first volume's already out. When's volume 2 coming?
Yes. It's in the works now. I'm just trying to figure out when I'm going to name it. I haven't decided. Like I said, I may be a switch up between players and stadiums and teams because there's still a lot of players with crazy nicknames, and that's what really inspired me to do the first one was the nickname, like Double Duty. He got his name because he said, "Oh, you got to pay. I'm worth the price to see me." What did he say? I'm worth the price to see me twice or something like that because I'm one player. Because he was a pitcher and a catcher, but he could do that all in one game. So. And then you got, of course, Satchel Paige, Mammy Peanut Johnson. She's on the first one. I had to give a shout out to her. Effa Manley. She was the first, the only woman owner, only black woman owner of a team. And she didn't. A lot of people don't know her race, which is really interesting. She claims that she was white, and some people say she was black. But she was the first owner to give her team air conditioning bus from the Negro League. Let's see who else is on there. There's Octavius, how you say his last name?
Cato.
Cato. He's big into politics because he basically wanted black men to vote because of the 15th Amendment in 1870. So when he was getting people, he's the first song on there. His biggest thing was he wanted to get people to vote, black men to vote. And so when he was out rallying for that, somebody shot him in the streets. They didn't want black men to vote, which is courageous in itself for him to even, he put baseball on the line for that. So, but it's some more people. Of course, Buck O'Neil. I don't think I put his nickname on there, but his nickname is Nancy. Satchel Paige just gave him his nickname Nancy. That's why they call Buck O'Neil. If you hear them talk in like interviews, he says Nancy. Satchel Paige says Nancy or Buck O'Neil. It's just crazy to call this man Nancy. It's a whole story behind it. How it's a whole story behind that. It's on Black Diamond, that podcast.
It's fantastic.
Exactly. So
can we talk about the name Vallejo? Will it like?
Yeah, it's
okay, so for those with no context, the Barnstorming Beats is underneath that artist title. So I'm asking him what.
Yeah. So one of my best friends in middle school, name was Justin Vallejo. I always was just enamored by last name was Vallejo, and then Ludacris had a song or a skit about Vallejo, California. No, Vallejo, and then E40 was like almost an E40, like he's in the Bay, but I was fascinated with people over in that area, like it's just that word. And then Willett just came from a mentor of mine in Nashville who worked in like the music business, and he used to wear these like button down pearl snaps, Western shirts. And so They used to call me Tom Willett the third, and I just like I'm David from the second. Kind of makes I don't know. It was so like because there's Tommy Wright the third. They was trying to to play at that, but I just combined two last names like some Ricky Bobby type, and made that name Vallejo Willett. Yeah, so
I like that, man, for sure.
yeah,
I
something
like how it
different.
has a story. So I got to ask you two more questions. One I want to ask
Sure.
you personally, and one I ask every guest. So the first question is this. Right now, today, as we record this, what would be your walk-up song and what would be your position
My walk ups. My oh,
in baseball,
all
of
right.
course?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
for
you're a
sure.
quarterback. I'm just saying.
I'd be a pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be a pitcher. My walkout song. Oh man. So that's a lot, man. Man, that's a um. Okay, for away games, it'd be anything Atlanta.
Yeah.
Anything from Ti to Outkast, Young Jeezy, Gucci.
They're not
Um,
gonna play it at a wake. They were like, "Please welcome to, please
I
welcome."
know, but,
All right.
but uh, you know what? I'll just say it. I would just say, man, that's a hard one. What's the Young Jeezy song? Thug Motivation. That's the whole album. But uh, Bankroll Fresh walked in with Travis
Okay.
Porter.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun,
Yeah.
dun-dun-dun.
I like no, that actually makes sense. That's the hardest part now with the new rules. You get like 10 seconds. So it can't be
Yeah.
like, oh, the intro's gonna drop and I'm gonna come out like Edwin Diaz and the trumpets are gonna play. No, you need 10 seconds.
Yeah, you
You
got
do
that
your-
when that beat his da 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 da. Yeah,
yeah,
that,
I
yeah.
like that.
And we
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. There's some. Yeah, some. You got to know the first. You know. Yeah. Something like swag surfing that takes too long to drop. We kids
So
don't listen to anything no more than 2 minutes now or a
they
minute.
don't.
So
My answer for this question, and no one knows the song, but I like to say it anyway because I want to respect up and coming independent artists. But mine is Seneca by DJ Shub. So if you're listening to this right now, pause it, check that song out. In 10 seconds, you'll be singing woo woo just like me, and come back to this podcast. And the last song I asked all my guests on the show, I want to ask you this one because we talked about a little bit about what MLB has to do to market the game. Is baseball cool? Why or why not?
I want to change my song
Oh,
to.
what? Well, thank you for patiently waiting to my next question. I am.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You can't
Okay.
have.
Is it
Everybody
the
knows that song.
Chumbawamba?
Yeah. Everybody knows that. But anyways, is baseball cool?
It's baseball.
Uh, I'm sorry. Sometimes my brain,
I know. I love it. The brand of an artist.
baseball is not cool because the marketing is terrible. Because nobody in there looks like us. Like nobody knows how to market to us but us. They do all these data points on us. Like, what do we like Nielsen SoundScan and this, that, and the other, but nobody knows us but us. So, you got to go to the backyard baseball games. You need to go to the black travel games. You need to go to even the softball. You need to go to HBCU softball games. Those girls, they be dancing and stuff. It's dope. It's a whole different vibe. You know what I'm saying? We are the vibe. So we make it cool, but we just need more people at us in the marketing campaign.
Okay.
I think they're trying, but it's like anything else. You just need you need some people at the top that kind of like are rebellious, risk takers, and understand what people like. We like TikTok, so there's a way to like mix that up. It's like I think within our lifetime they're gonna do we'll be watching AI generated because they have all these stats about the Negro League teams. They're gonna have an AI generated games of the players, what they look like and everything. I think that's gonna be a thing that comes happen. I'm actually working on so that's what my project that I'm dropping for the second Barnstorming Beats too. I want to do a Negro League nickname generator. So if you sign up for a pre-save, you can get what your nickname would be if you play in the Negro League.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wonder what some of the answers would be.
You like
I probably get something weird like Rusty Bucket or something. And I'm like,
nah.
no, come on.
the Iron Horse or you know El Champion, you know,
Yeah,
something, yeah, there's something, you know, yeah, something like that. But baseball could be cool if the right people were in charge of the marketing. You like
yeah.
you said earlier about how everybody, you know, rocks Atlanta Braves stuff. Even if I'm in Florida, if I'm in Texas, no matter where, you know, even in New York, some people rock Brave stuff. They're probably just visiting. You never know, you know. But or they may just got a sale on at Marshalls, but we still support it.
Hey.
So yeah, so it's everywhere because everybody wears baseball caps anyway. That's what when you put on a hat, it's like when people that are foreign see a deer, they don't say deer. They say look at Bambi.
Oh, okay.
You see the branding there. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
deep. When foreign people come to our country and they see the Disney movie Bambi, they don't say, "Oh, look at that deer." They say, "Oh, look at Bambi." So when you
Sorry.
see, yeah, so we need more like, you know, because everybody wants to be LeBron James. Everybody wants to be, you know, who's, you know, who's in football? I don't even know. I watch football. I don't even know right now. But CJ Stroud or somebody, you know,
Okay, yeah,
or
shut the
AJ
shot.
Brown. Everybody has somebody to look up
Lamar
to.
Jackson. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, but we have nobody to look. The kids have no one to look up to in baseball. So you need that leader. You know what I'm saying? We need a baseball Space Jam movie.
What? What that would even look like? Baseball's one of
But
the most
not,
like, yeah.
yeah,
I'm,
not, but like we had Angels in the outfield, but that
man,
was kind of,
but that
yeah.
was like, man, my family's all broken. And my dad said, I want y'all to win, and my dad will come home. He's not coming home. Like, I don't want that for us. No, I don't. No, I know what you mean though. I think some
You know,
crossover is important. I know, like, again, we talked about Aaron Judge. Not to single him out, he has the talent, but as far as like being the one on the posters for the kids, doesn't have the same kind of attitude or braggadociousness we had when we were kids. But those
right,
with that attitude aren't really at the elite level as an Aaron. So it is kind of like one of these back and forth things. At least the way I see it. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Uh,
It's just it can be cool. Again, I think it comes down to the skills. Like home runs are just home runs. We get it, but like we need the skills. Like there's fast people. Like what's the guy from the Cincinnati?
LA de la Cruz.
Yeah, I like him a lot. You know, so but you have to know these people. Like you know, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And who are you watching right now then? Like, who's your guy right now? Is it Ellie?
Acuna, man,
Oh, okay.
MVP. You know,
I mean,
Acuna.
okay. I mean, all right. Well, what about last season when he was out?
Okay. What you
No,
mean?
no, because
Okay.
he didn't play last season. He didn't play
Yeah,
last
yeah.
season.
You're
No
right.
disrespect. No disrespect. He earned it. He earned it. I'm just
21 was
saying.
crazy, right? Because we didn't have him then.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
nobody remembers about that year, we had to win 4 games in a row just to get to the playoffs.
No,
We
totally. Well,
barely made it to the playoffs.
absolutely. All the flowers, man. All the
And
flowers.
and luckily we made the playoffs. And our division is hard because we got you, we got Boston. No, we got Philly, and then the Dodgers. How do you feel about the Dodgers? I love
Wow.
Mookie Betts. Okay, I forgot about him. Shout out to
Well,
Mookie
yeah.
Betts.
Yo,
Mookie Betts
Mookie.
is laying it down. I mean, I think all the kids want to be him right now. I forgot about him. It's just my bad.
Yeah, he's a
But
fantastic bowler. Wow.
yeah, I think he's making a name and making it look good for us. Like that man is balling. Like shout out to him. So like Mookie Betts is carrying
Yeah.
all the black ancestors of niggas on his back right now.
You know
Shout
what?
out to Mookie Betts.
At first I was like, oh nah, but at the same time, I remember going because I live in LA now, and so I go to Dodgers games. Unfortunately, I go to Dodgers games. I say unfortunately because if you've ever been to Dodger Stadium, it's the most expensive place in baseball to buy a beer. So you're like, it's a lot of money to go. But him in right field with the stirrups and the baggy pants, I'm like, yo, you look like you could have been on a Brooklyn Dodgers squad. So maybe you're right. But to answer your two questions, the NL East is hard, but thankfully the Marlins have not figured themselves out. So you may have the Nationals coming in, but really it's a three-way dance. As far as the Dodgers, we needed an evil empire. I grew up with the Yankees being that. I'm fine with another one. I just hate the fact that it's LA, man. Like, how much money can you stack for now and for later and still have a farm and still get the wins and still win the division? I'm like rooting for Arizona now. Yo, please, Arizona, please.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
This is crazy.
So with that being said, also, I don't know if you heard, but Nashville's getting a team called Nashville Stars, and
if
Nashville
they're lucky,
Stars,
if they're lucky,
if they're lucky, yeah. So Justin Timberlake's a big investor in it. Atlanta Braves are not happy about it because it says taking some of the demographic. But I lived in Nashville the last 7 years, 8 years. I see it being a thing for sure if it happens, but it's like you're gonna have to really bring some like talent here because they may get rid of the Devil Rays, right?
yeah. I mean, those are the two teams on a chopping block, right? The Athletics going to Las Vegas and the Rays kind of without a home / with a home in the county. So, and of course, the White Sox have lost so much they're even moving that one. So, the Nashville Stars situation, I wish them well. I hope they get a team. I'm kind of glad if someone eats into that Atlanta Braves market. No offense to Atlanta, but like,
Yeah.
it's like the Braves and the Rockies have the most geographic mileage of their coverage. Like someone, like if I had a team, I'll put one in Wyoming just to screw with them. Like it's just good business, At the same time, though, it's like can we sustain 32 teams where two of them, the Rays and the Athletics, are like floundering and struggling? I just wonder. I just put it out there.
Yeah, I think Nashville doing that would be a good look. I think it's gonna bring a lot of money because they just got football, and then on top of that,
hockey.
Hockey. Yeah. So like, they have this the Nashville Sounds in Nashville. They're a minor league team, and the games are always packed. So I think to that component, where they put the stadium, who knows what they'll figure out.
Yeah.
They got a soccer team too. They got a soccer team.
Nashville
So
SC.
yeah, and they are those games are crazy. I think it'll happen. We'll see when does it take place. We don't know, but it'd be interesting. I think when it does, it's gonna be interesting to look on baseball. I think they're gonna bring hopefully some different elements. I mean, being called the Nashville Stars, and that was a thing when creating the album artwork. Shout out, so the artwork was done by my friend Shania Wiggins. She did the artwork for me. And she had the idea of like the names. And then if you like look at Negro League baseball at that time, when things happened, things were in bold, like they came at your face like in a different way than like if it was good news or bad news. So it was how they printed it. And how All-Star Game came about was through, I can't remember, it was Chicago. It was a black media newspaper writer. I can't remember if it was Chicago, New York, but that's how the All-Star game came about in the Negro League. Was people were like, hey, we want to put the best against the best. And I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, so, but the names and the Negro Leagues is the teams and the nicknames of the players is just hilarious. So, yeah.
Respect, and hopefully Volume 2 is on its way. Barnstorming Beats available now wherever you stream your music. David, appreciate your time being on the show in the booth, just rapping to me about baseball and stuff. How you love with the Braves. I mean nothing but love. Don't come after me, Braves fans. I'm just saying, or Braves country or whatever. But here's the fun part, though. If someone wanted to connect with you, book you for something, know more about you and your brand, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, you could just you can email me at david.pellum@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, David Pellum, like the name appears right there all together. You can find me I'm on everything, Twitter, TikTok, wherever, what I'm saying, wherever there's air, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? You dig? You know what I'm saying?